Before I start, I forgot some things from the last part. Due to Deku not being there in Sludgeville, we get knocked the hell out by All Might and captured. Bakugo due to this gets to the arcade just like in canon and probably blows up a machine or something. Deku during the 10 months would have gotten way stronger due to his training with Mirio and figuring out he can control his special move. This also means that Dagobah Beach is still a bit of a filth dump sadly, as Mirio doesn't need to train there at all. During the entrance exam, Nezu would turn off the 0-pointer, which in turn saves Uraraka. I'm gonna also say she just got enough points to get in, so it'll stitches itself up pretty well. Anyways, let's get into it. He would land there on the floor next to Nezu and grab the disc from his hand, looking confused. Here you go, Midoriya. We made a pre-made one this morning, seeing that you were already accepted. Deku presses the button on top as a hologram of all the teachers pops up, along with a message from his mum and David's shield on the back. He smiles a goofy little smile before thanking Nezu, asking when they start properly. Nezu tells him that the first day is 3 weeks from now. Deku hearing this is kind of sad, wanting to start straight away, so instead he would start getting his stuff ready. He scrolls to his classmates, seeing a couple names that stick out to him. Todoroki being Endeavor's son, Momo being one of the people from the exam he took, and of course his teacher Aizawa. He smirks seeing this. Him and Aizawa were already close, and he even trained with him at one point. He was excited to see where this would go. Over the next few weeks, Deku would low-key just chill, talking to Aizawa a little bit and asking the other faculty in how he is in the classroom, getting a pretty early warning about everything, like the first test, deciding he doesn't need to worry about it. And thus comes up the first day, about 5k words into this what if. Genuinely, this thing is huge. Deku would wake up bright and early once more, wearing his uniform, which was once again pre-made to work with his quirk. He ate some breakfast and eventually skedaddled, talking to some third years on the way before making his way to the door of Class 1A. He stopped and smiled a little bit before walking inside. To his surprise, he was actually late, looking around the classroom to see people yelling and fighting. Aizawa in his sleeping bag on the floor as two sets of eyes stare him down, shocked looks on their faces. Deku gives Aizawa a little bit of a wave before going to sit down. Aizawa, finally seeing this, decides to stand up, taking his sleeping bag off, and as he tells everyone to sit down and shut up. They all get dressed, and they walk. He tells them to get dressed. Deku does so, hopping up and walking outside before anyone else. Aizawa kind of shooing them away by pointing at Deku. They all make their way to the grounds in the gym clothes as Deku stands there just kind of bored. Aizawa would explain the bull throw test to everyone and how they have a quirk apprehension test today. Deku throwing Deku the ball instead of Bakugo, even though he scored first place. Deku here will show you. He's like a little model today. Deku looks at Aizawa, who nods. He cracks a smile before throwing the ball up in the air. Momo, Todoroki, and Aizawa sat in silence, watching it as close as possible as the ball falls. Todoroki in his head thinks back to his quirk. What was it? Spatial manipulation or something? Watching on as Deku straight up throws a haymaker in the ball, his hand intangable going right through it. Something that only Aizawa sees. His entire fist goes in. Pause. Deku feeling the ball hit his hand would smirk a little bit. Aizawa watching as the ball falls through his hand and his arm. The class is shocked, kinda grossed out. The kid was glitching or something, what the hell? Until suddenly the ball drops to the floor. Yeah, I'm gonna say that Deku hasn't used this move yet. I'm gonna need to make it available soon though, trust me, don't worry. Like, I've already written out the entire what if and it gets crazy. Everyone in the class is kinda bummed by this, looking kinda disappointed. Bakugo laughing and mocking him from the back of the class. Heh, what a loser. Dumbass didn't even touch the damn thing. Snickers break out from across the class until Aizawa shuts them up. I wouldn't laugh if I were you. I'd keep an eye on him through the rest of the tests. Deku puts his hand behind his neck and laughs a little bit. Not used to being praised. He apologizes to the teachers before going back to the line. Everyone's silent watching him come over. The rest of the test, Deku would show off what Aizawa was talking about. Having trained his whole life would easy get second place on the group strength test, only being beaten by that forehand guy. The 50-meter sprint, Deku would just sprint normally. I don't want him showing off just yet. Let me cook a little bit. He would score and Bakugo... He would get a score about where Bakugo was. All in all, getting a solid score in every category. Straight manpower. He would end up ranking 4th place. His ball throw scoring tanking him a little bit. In the end, no one gets expelled, everyone kind of muttering to each other, mostly about Deku. They were confused about his quirk. They're told to go back to orientation, dismissing the rest of the class before pulling Deku to the back. He asked what was up. Loki, oh sorry, this is Isaiah by the way. Loki kind of mad at Deku for not showing his quirk off, even in the slightest. Like he was mocking his class. Deku of course didn't mean it this way, straight away apologizing before telling him he just didn't want to show off, and that he doesn't care about being a limelight. Isaiah hearing this is kinda mad before cracking a smile. He liked the way Deku thought. Deku though, kinda had an ulterior motive. He wanted to save his quirk for the hero training that he had coming up. He wanted to fight who he thought was the strongest. Bakugo. Class after this is kinda plain. People like Kirishima and Kaminari constantly asking Deku how he knows the teachers and stuff. Deku explaining his little backstory to them, some of the rest of the class listening in as he tells them about his childhood. How he unlocked his quirk and how he wasn't allowed to use it. How he was left behind in New Zealand. How he left his life behind in New Zealand to move to Ireland, and how he moved here solo about 10 months ago. Moving into the dorms of UA. Everything clicks in everyone's heads. He knew Aizawa. How he knew Aizawa, how he knew everyone, all the teachers and the faculty. They all started wondering what his quirk was even more. Their wonder though is cut off by some intrusion by someone jumping into the classroom. With a loud thud, the door slams open, All Might in his hero costume coming through the door like a normal person. He does his speech before opening the containers holding their costumes. Now, I don't know what Deku's costume would be. It's gonna be made like the one from Mirio, so it can like work with his quirk, but I don't know about any of the colors or anything, so give me some ideas. Anyways, like in canon, they would finally get there they'd finally get there and get told what they were doing, All Might pulling out his little card before reading off of it, telling the class about the situation, the two teams, the bomb, and the objective. Deku hearing this would nod along. He looked around the class wondering who he'd fight, how hard he should go. His thoughts are distracted by him being called up by All Might to grab a ball first. Deku says hi to All Might and they have a little chat before the class gets jealous. Like, not only does Deku know the whole school, he also knows All Might too. Who even is this kid? Deku and the rest of the class get their balls chosen, pause, and Deku is paired up with Mineta versus Bakugo and Kirishima. Deku being the hero and those two being the villains. He looks at his teammate, who looks up at him like a rat. Deku thinks of punting him, but he doesn't. They make their way into the entrance of the building, Mineta tweaking. He's already scared of Bakugo. Deku, already kinda sick of him, decides to make his way in front of him. The bell going off just as the round starts. Deku looks around the place. Searching the first floor pretty quick to see there was nothing. Mineta only just making his way inside. People in the class sit in silence, taking bets on what his quirk is. Aizawa even popping in to watch the battle. Deku makes his way to the second floor. Hearing something, he tells Mineta to sit down on the first floor and then he's got company, looking back up to see Kirishima and Bakugo dropping. Looking for a fight. Deku sees this, cracking a smile. Bakugo shooting straight towards him, explosions blaring off in his hands. Now I'm gonna make you use that quirk of yours. Blasting up and sending a mean explosion aimed right at Deku's head. Kirishima watching on in the background. Deku sees it coming, blocking with his left hand. Bakugo sends a mean explosion right at the point of impact, which sends him flying, twisting in the air before he catches himself. What the hell? I swear I hit him. Deku looks completely unfazed, his arms still up and blocking. He brings him down before looking left and right. He brings him down looking left and right before looking at his hands. What was that? I thought I was a dead man. Bakugo gets pissed by this. What the hell are you? Rushing at Deku once more, which Deku matches, running in with his hand already conked back. They meet in the middle and once again blast into each other. This time Deku locks in, not using his quirk. Already kinda understanding Bakugo decides to fight him in hand to hand. They go in, Deku slipping Bakugo's punches and hitting him in the gut with a quick 1-2 before jumping up in the air and slamming him in the chin with a knee. Bakugo's head sent to look to the heavens. Kirishima seeing this decides to finally rush in. hardening himself, pause, before going in on this one as well. Kirishima just throwing hands, straight up haymakers at Deku, who once again slips him. Like, he's fought people like Mirio and, Aizawa. There's no way he's losing to Kirishima. He drops down and sweeps his leg from below him, making him fall before slamming him in the stomach and pushing him away. Even hardened Kirishima can feel this, tumbling back as Deku stares back at Bakugo, who is finally back in the game. Bakugo looks pissed. The knee made him remember his childhood, had him soul searching. He's never had anyone in his life put him on a leash like this. He was borderline rabid. Bakugo, more pissed than ever, would start to stare down at his gauntlets, pulsating red as he smiles. He thinks back to the battle so far, how Deku's been unaffected of all of his attacks. The ball from the exam, how it fell through his arm. His quirk had to be some type of permeation. He looks back up at Deku, cracking a full smile. "You're gonna get it, you cocky shit. Burn in hell." Pulling the pin as a huge explosion engulfs the hallways. Deku seeing this coming is shocked by the power he had. He hadn't seen anything this big in a while. Unlike in canon, where All Might stops Bakugo from using his attack, or like, oh my god, I cannot read today. Sorry, my bad. Unlike in canon, where All Might stops Bakugo from using this attack, or at least tries to, he would sit back in this timeline, knowing Deku would dodge it, and Loki, curious himself on what would happen afterwards. Deku, seeing the explosion coming closer and closer, would feel the heat coming off the front. Finally deciding to permeate, but no one in the class sees what happens. Deku disappearing from one of the cameras as it's engulfed in flames and appearing in another right below it, seemingly falling through the floor. Mineta from below feels the floor shaking, looking up and out of nowhere seeing Deku dropping and falling, catching himself on the floor. "Oh hey, you're still here?" Things got a little bit rough upstairs. Mineta completely dumbfounded by this. He can't even formulate a sentence, not understanding what he just saw. Deku struggling and walking it back off. Deku shrugging and walking back up the staircase. This time he wanted to get his get back. The dust clears and Baku and Kirishima stand, looking around confused as anything. Deku nowhere to be seen. Bakugo tweaking. "What the hell? Where did you go? No way I killed him, right?" Deku hearing this last little bit, throwing a rock at Bakugo from the staircase, making a turn and look. He finally walks up again, Bakugo thinking in his head that he figured out his quirk. Deku though had more tricks than that. Without any words, Deku sprints right at them, zigzagging across the hallway before dropping through the floor. They're both shocked by this, as is Mineta, watching him fall through the floor and once again fall through the floor once more, this time falling deeper. Deku falls to the earth, falling a little bit longer, knowing from practice how long he would have to stay down there to get to each spot. When he felt it was right, he turned off his quirk, a smile forming on his face as he shot through the floor. The cameras of the class watching as within a half a second, Deku flies through the earth. Not only the first floor, but through the roof of it. Not only through the first floor, but through the roof of it too, making himself untangable again, doing a front flip as he shoots through the ceiling, turning off his quirk again and slamming the two of them right in the gut with a kick from below. Neither of them knew what they were hit by, flying up into the air and getting one shot. The kick winding them and sending them into the ceiling of the second floor, completely knocking them out. All Might calls it over the intercoms and everyone sits in silence, dumbfounded. All Might and Aizawa sitting on the screen watching Deku do that. The class once again guesses his quirk before Aizawa stops him, quieting them down and talking them through how his quirk works, the physics of it and what he just did, and how it far exceeds what any of them could do. Telling them how many moving parts were just in that one attack. Like in the regular 1A vs Mirio moment, everyone gets pumped, feeling that they were way behind already, deciding to work 10 times harder. Bakugo and Kirishima are sent out to Recovery Girl as Deku does the class with Mineta, getting swamped by questions. He tries his best to answer all of them as the rest of the fights go on as canon. Someone in the corner stares at Deku with hatred in his eyes, Still salty from the recommendation test. That's the end of part 3. Hopefully you enjoyed, and thank you if you made it this far. Sorry I was stuttering and shit. It's 5 a.m. and my voice is a little bit cooked, as you could probably tell. This is gonna be a long ass series, I can already tell. It's not even the USJ yet. I'm like 6k words in. Sorry that he hasn't been showing his quirk off too. He's gonna be in the next part. Just look forward to that. Trust me, I've cooked on the next part. Anyway, catch you. Yeah.